Hi, my name is Lynne Hartke, and I'm the author of Under a Desert Sky, Redefining Hope, Beauty, and Faith in the Hardest Places. When I first moved here to the desert 3 decades ago, I thought the desert was ugly. I came from the 10,000 lakes of Minnesota, and coming here it seemed so desolate, so very brown. But the more I lived here and hiked the trails in what is, of course, one of the premier hiking areas in the world, I began to fall in love with the desert and realize there is beauty to be found here. It might be beauty framed in barrenness, but in the difficult beauty of the desert, it is still an incredible place. So when I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and soon afterwards my dad was diagnosed with melanoma, and my mom was diagnosed with ovarian cancer, I began to explore this idea: what would it be like to write a story using the Sonoran Desert as a backdrop of a very hard and difficult season, and to explore that there can be beauty in a hard place. There can be hope and faith. And so that's what I set out to do with the book, and you'll find stories in there about my dad's bucket list ride with a white convertible, and my mom's love affair with lipstick, and how a stranger's kindness saved the day with 6 quarters, and a man and woman as they explore the final chapters of their life, as they leave lessons for the next generations, and look at the question: is it possible to face eternity without fear? So that's kind of my hope with this book, that a reader would look at it in their hard place, even if it's not cancer, but another hard place, that they are not alone in their fear, and they are not foolish to hope, and that they are never forgotten by a loving, pursuing God. So I hope you'll join me in the pages of Under a Desert Sky.
And the way you set it up is really like a series of essays.
Yes.
And why did you choose that format?
I began writing as a blogger, and so the book came from that type of style, where I would be writing something that would be about 500 words, and so I expanded on it in the chapters of Under Desert Sky.
And was there any chapter that was particularly difficult to write?
There were quite a few chapters that were actually difficult to write as I went back and looked at our story. One of the challenges of a cancer story is that you spend that season living in the overwhelming now. And so to go back and to look, what were all the different things going on in the story? And so that was my attempt in going back and writing it.
And you incorporate your hiking and trails throughout the desert in the book. And is there any sort of metaphor that you find with the hiking or being outdoors?
Yeah, quite a few metaphors, actually. The thought that there's not a lot of water in the desert, and so it's very precious and valuable to us who are desert dwellers. And the thought that when we're in our own hard places, where do we find that life-giving water? Who are the people around us that provide it, or in what situations can we find hope? And so hope would kind of be that water in the desert.
And finally, the faith is a prominent part of your book.
Mm-hmm.
Can you describe what it means to you?
Faith to me is a very vital part of my experience, personal faith in God, and I explore that in the book, as I felt that often with our cancer diagnosis, I struggled to hear God and find Him. And so part of writing the book was going back and realizing He had not abandoned me, and He was there in the hardest part of my story.
Well, thanks for writing the book, and thanks for sharing your story, and thanks for being a part of Sibley's West.
Yeah, I look forward to many more years of partnership.